Hey guys, Pete here. Today we're going to be reviewing the Lansky Curved Blade Sharpening Hones. This is a very special review mainly because I haven't been able to find another video review anywhere, whether it's on Amazon review section or on YouTube. So, very special little exclusive first time review on YouTube today. Basically walk you through what these hones are used for. Anyone who watched my other videos for the Lansky system, whether it's the review or the full tutorial, I may have mentioned that when you're trying to sharpen something like an inward curving blade, whether it's a full-on karambit or a very subtle recurve like you have on the CQC5K right here, you can't technically do it properly with just a flat hone like you have in the standard Lansky set and in pretty much any sharpening set out there. Reason being, when you try and put a flat, rectangular prism hone on the edge here, it's only going to make contact at 2 points, and those points are the edges of the hone. Now, the reason why this is a problem is that the corners of those hones are brittle, it's very easy to have uneven pressure, and they damage very easily. The reason why this is a problem is that if you damage the edge of your hone, which, as I said, is very easy to do, it's going to lead to very uneven edges. Especially if you wind up taking a chip out of the edge of your hone, then every time that you swipe it past your blade, you're going to risk gouging out a lot of material, putting in some very deep scratches that are very hard to get out, and it can damage your blade's edge. So, with that being said, the most logical solution here is to take something that's, say half a cylinder, where the contact point is an arch. What that means is that you're only going to make contact on the blade at one point, at the top of that arch, right when it, bowls into the edge right here. This is ideal because, as some of you may know, the arch is the strongest geometric shape in existence. It's not going to chip, it's very sturdy, and it's relatively simple to apply very even pressure, because even if your wrist were to roll one way or the other, because it's, half cylindrical, it's going to just roll onto one contact point regardless. So you're never going to roll off and accidentally damage or scrape it or anything. So intuitively, it makes a lot of sense. And yet, to my knowledge, this is the only sharpening company, Lansky, that offers a curved sharpening hone. And this makes me a little confused. I'm not really sure why. My only guess is that manufacturing costs, it's not an easy thing to do. I don't know enough about the processes to really definitively say that, though I feel like a lot of them could just be molded with a half cylindrical mold. But again, I'm no expert, so obviously I'm sure there are a lot of technical difficulties in doing this, but whatever. Now, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of negative reviews of this system on Amazon, on their own website, on third-party websites, and it made me kind of wary. This is why it's been so long since I've gotten this system. I've known about it pretty much since I got invested into the Lansky system a year or two ago, and yet I've waited all this time. I finally decided, screw it, I've got enough knives with recurves, and I've got a full-on karambit here, that I'm going to need to sharpen them eventually. And so it's going to be nice to have a system, even if it only half works, to have a system that can do the job kind of well. Now, what you get in this kit are 4 hones. Up here you've got the grits. We've got a 120 coarse, a 280 medium, a 600 fine, and a 1000 ultra fine. Now, right off the bat, that's totally okay. Those are, exactly what you're going to wind up needing. Those are more than enough grits to get you through from a very, very dull edge all the way up to basically razor sharp. Now, a lot of the reviews are basically saying that the first 2 hones, these guys right here, no problem at all, they work fine. The second 2 hones, though, were A, very similar, so it was hard to really tell that there was a distinct difference in grit, and B, that the material was chalky, it was powdery, that it would literally just get scraped off with the blade if you took it to it. Basically saying that this was not the material that you would ideally be using for sharpening a knife. Ideally, for something in the 1000 grit, you're talking up, rock solid ceramic, one of the hardest materials around. And yet, that really doesn't seem to be the case. It is, in fact, very chalky. Here, let me show you that real quick. That little residue that you see on the edge of the blade, that is in fact the sharpening stone that got scraped off onto my leek whilst I was sharpening it. And it's kind of obnoxious that it does that. I really wish that wasn't the case. But alright, so be it. Maybe it's a little messy, but does it get the job done? Well, so I used it on my leek, as you just saw in those photos, and it's really hard to say. Is it sharp? Yes. Is it sharper than it was when I started? I don't know. It'll cut, but far from well. Let me show you a quick paper cut test real quick here. it kind of cuts, and it's okay at some points, but it's nothing crazy. It's not literally razor sharp like I was able to get with my other, my normal standard Lansky system, and that's kind of disappointing. Let me show you these hones real quick, just to give you a sense of what kind of material we're dealing with on all of them, because they are distinctly different materials up until the last few. So here we have the case. We'll start on the right side here with the coarsest hone. Now this is a fine hone. It looks great. It works great. It gets the job done. There you can see that half cylinder shape right there. And I mean, it works fine. It doesn't grind away itself too quickly. It's still a rounded profile, so it works fine. Moving up the grits, again, no issue. Gets the job done. Feels like a sturdy, solid hone. It hasn't ground away the hemispherical profile. Working fine. Then you get to the 600 grit, and you get this green, chalky material. And as you can see, right there, see that little portion here where there isn't any residue? This black stuff is just, it's residue from the steel as it gets ground off. The reason why I don't see any here is because the material has been gouged out by my blade. If you take this hone and run it, let me give you a quick example, and you run it up the blade like so, that's what it will do. It will cut through the material and won't sharpen your blade. If anything, I'm assuming it'll dull it. You have to drag it down the blade like you would a strop, which you should not have to do. You should not have to worry about that at this grit level. Honestly, at any grit level. Even with the full-on ceramic hone, 1,000 grit, 1,200 grit, 2,000 grit ceramic hone, you shouldn't have to worry about it. There's no reason why that should happen. Again, more of the same here on this one, and it's very disappointing. I don't get why that's happening. I don't get what material they're making these out of that causes that to happen. I am definitely a little disappointed in Lansky here, because the quality is not what I've come to expect from them. Yes, it does work. Yes, if you had a severely damaged edge, you could take it up to the 260 and it would be usable. But if you go to the 600 and the 1,000 grit, while you will notice a difference, it's not the difference you expect for going up that high in the grits. I took this thing up all the way through and then stropped it with both of my strops, and unfortunately, it's still nothing crazy. It's just not that good. So yeah, I am kind of disappointed in this system. Will I use it? Yeah, if I absolutely have to. Will I take it to my, $100 Fox Karambit? Probably not, honestly. But we'll see. Oddly enough, anyone who's familiar with really, really cheap knife stores and stuff like that, not to bash on them, there are plenty that are good, whatever, but SMKW, which is Smoky Mountain Knife Works, I believe, they carry a Lansky set of curved hones, but they're distinctly different colors. What that means to me is that they're made out of different materials. I'm tempted to look into that and see if it's a different version, maybe a newer version, maybe an older version, that's made with higher quality materials. I'm very curious, actually. I might actually spend the money, which, by the way, was about $26 after tax and shipping and all that. So I might spend that money again just to see if it's a different set. And if it is, maybe it's a better set. Who knows? But unfortunately, that kind of covers this review, guys. It's nothing spectacular. Is it worth, $30? I don't know. I honestly don't know if it is. If you have no other option, then yes, I'd say go for it. But maybe wait a little, maybe try and find a better solution out there. I don't know if there is, but this just isn't that great. So yeah, I am actually a little disappointed in Lansky today with this system. That being said, it does get the job done, I suppose. So, buyer beware, it will work, but not that great. But anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. As always, please like, subscribe, and comment down below if you have any questions either about this system, the Lansky system in general, or anything knife or EDC related. And as always, guys, keep your edges sharp and your mind sharper, and I'll see you in the next one.